Welcome to ABC Behavior Training, where we're disseminating the science of ABA to everyday behavior analysts through resources, education, and supervision. Be sure to subscribe to our newsletter at abcbehaviortx.com. Hi guys, this is Melissa with ABC Behavior Training, and if you've been thinking about getting my report writing package but you wanted to see what was in it first, I am creating this video for you. This is going to be a walkthrough of all of the information that's in the report writing package. Now, this thing is put together to help you write your reports quicker and easier, and also help you not encounter as many insurance denials. So the report writing package, you can see is right here, and it is broken down into a few different modules where you can download all of the documents, and that's just to help keep everything organized. So you have under report templates, you have materials for initial and reevaluation. Under assessment tools, there's things for parent interview, and then resources for the VB-MAPP, ABLS, and AFLS. And then under the FBA, there's an FBA template, behavior examples, and intervention procedures. And then under treatment goals, there's goal writing and program templates. So all of these are in here that you can download once you purchase the report writing package. But I'm going to open up my folder where I already have everything downloaded so we can take a look. So under report templates, let's take a look at the initial assessment template. Also, all of this stuff is in Word documents or Excel, so you can edit things as you need to. Like if you like some parts of these templates, but some parts you need to change for a specific insurance company or based on your company, you are free to do so. So this is the initial assessment report. It has all of the client's basic information in there. Everything that's yellow is a prompt for things that you need to change, and everything that's blue are examples that I've written in there, which you should delete. So we have statement of confidentiality, the reason for referral, a description of the evaluation protocols used, background information, and that goes over developmental history, medical information, school placement, really all of this information. And again, it comes with prompts and an example of what sort of information you should be putting in there. Also their skills, communication, social, play, leisure, all of that. And then after you go through the background information, we have the direct observation where you're going to write the information from what you've actually observed in your assessment. Then the assessment results, so you're going to put the information in for whichever assessment you used. Again, there's an example already in here. And then there's an FBA section. I don't have the whole prompt in here because we'll look at that. It is in a separate document, so you can copy and paste it in here if you need it, or if you don't need it, you can just state that it's not required due to no challenging behaviors. And then we have treatment goals. So we have long-term goals, and then short-term goals broken down by different domains. Again, this is the method that I like to track progress over time. You can adjust it if you need to. Again, it's completely editable. It has information in there for generalization planning, recommendations, which you can edit to individualize for your client, dosage recommendations, treatment authorization request, transition planning, discharge planning, and then coordination of care and crisis management. So this is the initial assessment. Again, the reevaluation template, it is going to be very similar to this. I'm not going to go ahead and open that one because everything's pretty similar. It's just going to also have information in there for you to provide progress from the last evaluation and also graphs of the progress that they've made. So, but it still follows the same outline as far as what sort of things you need to include in your initial assessment and your reevaluation. All right, let's take a look at the next section, assessment tools. I think this is the one that I'm most excited about sharing with everybody. So first, let's take a look at the parent interview. And if you guys have also signed up for my masterclass for assessment and report writing, some of this information in here is going to look familiar to you because this is where I get a lot of the background information from parents and the questions that I ask them. I'm not going to go over the entire document because, again, don't want to give everything away, but pretty much what we're going over is everything that you need to get information on for your parent interview before you move on to doing an actual assessment. So general information, their home information, psychological history, developmental history, medical history. And then we're going to get into the thing that's really cool about here. I'll show part of it, are these questions. So the communication questions, preferences, we're going to look at challenging behaviors, their social skills, the daily living skills. So just getting parents, quick baseline of how they're performing at home or at school or in the environments that the parents see them. And those questions are really important because it's going to lay the groundwork for the rest of your assessment. It can help you determine what assessment might be best to use with that client, and really look at what things are important for parents. So that's the parent interview. And then the scoring calculators. I'm going to go over the ABLS one. ABLS and AFLS are pretty much done the same way, so I'm not going to go over it twice. So this has saved me so much time. I can't tell you how many times I have spent counting colored in little boxes on the ABLS or AFLS and then trying to remember what the total scores are because it's on some other Excel document and I didn't have that saved. So this has been a huge lifesaver. So this is following the ABLS grid, and AFLS will do the same. So these yellow boxes are where you're going to type in the client score. And then these possible is the total number of boxes there. So the total possible score. If there are things that, you didn't assess these things, just delete them. And now it's not going to be in the possible score. But what you would do, you can go in here and just start typing what scores they got. Obviously not a 3 for a 2. But just whatever that is, and that's going to give you their total score out of the total possible, and it's going to give you a percentage. So that is for the complete ABLS assessment here. Again, I'm not giving you any of the actual assessment information because I'm not selling the assessment, but this will help a lot with scoring. And then it's going to take this and put it into a graph for you. So this is the current one, and this is something that you can also put into your reevaluation or initial evaluation. And then this one, it doesn't automatically do it, but you can put the percentages in here across your different assessments that you did, and you can see the progress. And then it's going to show the progress in each domain across 4 different assessment periods. So I think this is really awesome and a huge time saver. So you're not having to spend a lot of time counting and trying to show what the progress is and all of that. So again, AFLS is just like that one, except for AFLS. VB-MAPP is a little bit different because, of course, not the same grid. But here we still have the different domains, the possible scores for level 1, 2, and 3, and of course it's grayed out if it's not in that section. You can, again, delete stuff if you didn't test them. And then you're going to type in the client scores for those areas, and it's going to give you the total score out of the total possible, and then the percentage. And again, for a graph, let me just scroll over here. It's going to automatically do it for your current assessment, and then if you want that information for the assessments across time, you can just go ahead and type that in there. And it's going to do the same exact thing, looking at the different domains over time. All right, so let's take a look at, let's see, don't save, the templates that we have here as well. I'm just going to show you the VB-MAPP one because they're all pretty much the same thing, just for the various assessments. All these are going to be is the script that you're going to copy and paste into your initial or your reevaluation. So if you do the VB-MAPP, you're going to copy this in there, change the stuff that's relevant for your client, put the scores in there, and then you're also, of course, going to paste your grid for whatever assessment you're doing. But again, this helps so you have this separately. You don't have to try and type up your own description for it. You already have the descriptions for those main 3 assessments that we use. All right, let's take a look at the FBA stuff. So the FBA template is where we can start. Again, yellow are prompts and blues are examples that you'd want to delete, but you're just going to go ahead and put, you know, all of your assessment methods in there. If you do the QABF or FAST or MAS or whatever it is that you do for your assessment, put that information in there. You're going to look at the challenging behaviors, replacement behaviors, antecedent and consequence-based interventions, risk-benefit analysis, and then behavior plan monitoring. So that's going to include all of that information in there for you. And then if this is a reassessment, then you're also going to want to include some graphs of that change as well. All right, so we were looking at in that FBA template, you saw some examples of, you know, antecedent and consequence interventions and risk-benefit analysis. So risk-benefit analysis is something that we are ethically required to do, but it can definitely be a pain if you're doing it from scratch every time. So the antecedent and consequence interventions, and really these other 2 here, the behavior definitions and replacement behavior, this is just a bank to pull from. Like, absolutely individualize it for your client. That's why these are editable Word documents. But it's just going to give you a starting point. So this is like my starting point, and then as I have new procedures or new behavioral definitions or replacement behaviors, I'm constantly adding to it. But this is really where I'm at right now and has the most common things that you're going to use. So let's take a look at the antecedent interventions. Consequence interventions are set up the same way, except of course for consequence-based interventions. So it's going to, we have generic interventions, and then we also have function-based interventions for antecedent stuff. And it's going to list what that is, you know, what the procedure is that we're talking about, and then a description about it, or, you know, a step-by-step what you should do for the consequence-based intervention. And then it's going to have risk-benefit analysis for the most common ones that you would use. So all of that is already written out for you, and you don't have to try and recreate it, you know, for all of the things you're doing. And this really includes all of the antecedent-based interventions and consequence-based interventions. Whatever you're doing should fit into one of these things. So, you know, you're not going to really have to add a lot to this because what you're doing should already be in one of these categories here. All right, and let's take a look at treatment goals. So let's first look at the DSM-5 treatment plan guide. So especially if you've gone through my assessment masterclass, but we should be tying everything to the DSM-5 to show medical necessity. So this is something that really helps with this. These are all the different objectives in the DSM-5, broken down from the social communication and social interaction and the restricted repetitive patterns of behavior. So this is the objective and this is the topography, because you might have all these objectives and you're like, well, I have no idea what goal goes under this. Well, topography, that's going to be what that deficit looks like. So you can identify, I need to write this goal I don't know which DSM-5 category this goes to, this is going to help you with that. So, if you are writing a goal for tacting, then it's going to be under the second one here because that is a deficit in tacts, receptive language, discrimination, and following instructions. And then we have our goal writing guide. So this is going to, I have several examples here, but this is to help you write objective and medically necessary goals for your client. So we want to look at what is the long-term goal? What is the short-term goal? What are you naming this? What's the outcome? So observable, measurable outcome, program conditions, what proficiency are you looking for, generalization, how are you measuring it, which DSM-5 criteria does it go with, and then the completed goal, write out your entire goal from that information above. And again, my assessment masterclass goes over goal writing a lot more in depth that this is really helpful for. And then we have program templates. Now this is one of them. There are 20 program templates in there, but I'm just showing you one to kind of go over what it looks like. Now, if you use a binder system, this is absolutely perfect for that. But even if you use something electronic like Central Reach or Catalyst or whatever it is, this is still really helpful because you have your goal, you have the SDs in there, the prompting, and all the targets. So it still can be really helpful for you as you are creating stuff electronically. So we're going to have the program name, what the goal is, mastery criteria, total number of targets, what generalization looks like, and then how the therapist is going to collect data. Then we have the SD, including what does a plus mean, so how do they know when they're going to score a plus, and then a prompt hierarchy, and then it has a space for baseline, introduction date, and mastery date. Again, all of this is individualized and editable, so adjust what you need to adjust. Maybe you're not doing physical prompts with this client, so just delete those. You don't need to have them in there. Now, datasheet trials, you may or may not use this. If you use paper data sheets, this is really helpful because on all of my program templates, you can just copy this, put it into a Word document, and they're just going to stack upon each other to where you have your gross motor imitation and then day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, and you can just stack them with all the other goals that you're working on. And then visual analysis towards mastery criteria. This does not replace taking like percentage data, but what this does, it helps you see where they are towards mastery. So this is different for each of the different program templates that I have in there, but for this one specifically, the goal is 20 targets. So this graph goes up to 20, and then each week, at the end of each week, the therapist or BCBA, whoever, can go in and put a plot point for how many targets have been mastered so far. So it's just cumulative targets mastered per week. And then you can see the progress over 6 months for where they are towards that mastery. Again, you still want to be taking individual data on the different targets that you're working on. But this provides a really good snapshot of where they are. And then these are all the targets that we look at for gross motor imitation. Again, you can edit these. It doesn't matter which ones you add or if you use these specifically. But then it has information for their baselines, prompt, intro, mastery date, and then monthly maintenance, which I just use this, if you're just doing like one probe, you can just put plus minus in there or like a percentage if you're doing several of them, just so you can really check that they're maintaining that after it's been mastered across 6 months. And this is really the format of all of the program templates that you have in there. Again, this is just an example of 1 out of 20 of them. So the report writing package, it really offers a lot of stuff. Even if you don't need every single thing in there, like the stuff like the score calculators for those assessments, those banks for the FBA section, like all of that stuff is so important to have, and it makes report writing a lot easier. And if you have not checked it out yet, definitely check out the masterclass for assessment and report writing. This is 4 CEUs where we're really going over everything for assessment and report writing, and it goes perfectly with the report writing package. So it's going to have 6 different modules. We're going to go over assessment overview, the different assessment protocols, reports overview, critical elements of a report, treatment writing goals, which is just an in-depth view of how you should be writing your treatment goals to make sure they are objective and measurable and medically necessary. And then after the report, so what happens when people don't agree with the things that you write? What happens when there's difficulties implementing it? How are you going to defend your report? So we go over all of that as well. And each of these modules, they have video in there, and then they also have a little quiz just to, just a couple of questions just to make sure you're getting the information as you're going in there. And again, it's really easy. You just go in here, go through all the modules, watch the videos, and really by the end of it, you should feel very confident in your report writing and also conducting assessments. And again, all of this is going to tie into all of those tools that you get with the report writing package. So I hope this allows you to save a ton of time when it comes to writing reports and also write higher quality reports that encounter less issues with the insurance companies. And always, if you need anything or have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Thank you.